Just one of the waterways in the region expected to go into an action stage because of high water, and crews are already getting ready. We just got word on I-77 North mile marker 94. There is another tractor trailer crash there. Had been closed for about 2 hours this morning due to a dead body found in the middle of the road. Now, police officers I spoke with this morning on the scene say a male victim was crossing the Patrick Street Bridge. That's due to 36 active COVID-19 cases at Capitol High in just the first weeks of school. If you're looking for a renovation project like some new doors or just a fresh coat of paint, the West Virginia Home Show has it all. But dealing with more people on the road may not be your only problem. Gas prices have increased too. On average in Kanawha County, they see up to 40 to 50 passings every single day. So these red lights are made to keep drivers aware and to keep kids safe. This facility provided more than 1,500 jobs to West Virginia and is now closing in July. Now, joining me right now is the organizer of this rally, Jonathan Wilson, a part of the United Steelworkers. Now, what are you asking Governor Justice today? For you at home, I'm really not this short. This tire is just this big. 66 inches to be exact. Now, the reason why this massive truck is here is because Monster Jam is coming back. Fire department first arrived on scene. The fire was just fully involved. Now, if there's one thing West Virginians, Ohioans, and Kentuckians all love, it's getting dirty. The finishing piece on this, really living out my inner child this morning with this 100,000-piece Lego. Over 5,000 rubber ducks will be dropped off the South Side Bridge into the Kanawha River, where one lucky duck will race to Magic Island and win the grand cash prize. Gonna put me through some demos here this morning. Now, everyone that walked out of her class was red hot and sweaty, so this is about to be me. There you go. Tom, there's 2, there's 3. In a first grade classroom, desks will be pushed together in pods of 4 or 5. But because of social distancing, desks are spread apart and sanitized regularly. They are just excited to be back in class and learning in person. Now, this is not the only county going back to school in the area. Our 13 News reporter Andy Bernhardt is in Chesapeake, Ohio with more. Andy? It's a strong alcoholic drink that played an important role in American history. It's called moonshine, and it got its start right here in the hills of Appalachia.
It is part of our history, and it's a legacy for me, and it's just a West Virginia thing. Moonshine, everybody thinks of moonshine, they think of, West Virginia.
The homemade liquor got its name moonshine during the Prohibition era because it's often secretly made at night by the light of the moon. West Virginia's hills and hollers provided a space for these businesses to thrive, which is something the Freeman family is no stranger to.
I got some family history. My great-grandfather went to prison for moonshine, and I knew it was in our family.
So Dwayne and his family opened the Appalachian Distillery in 2014, located in Ripley, West Virginia.
People come in here and they say, well, we want the real stuff. Well, this is real as it gets. Most backyard moonshiners make it out of sugar. We do it like they done 150 years ago. We cook the corn. It's a real sour mash. You're getting real moonshine here. It's the real deal.
Which is definitely a labor of love.
It takes pretty much all day long. You get about 8 hours, 8, 9 hours, somewhere right around their average.
For one batch?
For one batch.
But orders for traditional Appalachian moonshine keep coming in.
If we were bottling bigger bottles, we can do like 100 cases a day. That machine will do 100 an hour.
They sell not only in all different states, but now globally. What do the Germans think about West Virginia moonshine?
They love it. They love it.
From customers just off the interstate to global partnerships, Appalachian Distillery is proud to keep true to West Virginia's roots.
It makes you proud. You're doing something for the community and in the community, and you're helping the community grow. It brings a lot of people in.
And the distillery offers more than just the historic drink. They also help other local businesses by providing a tourist attraction to sell their goods. I'm Audra Laskey for West Virginia Tonight. Next time you go to an airport and you're heading through the TSA security line, you may be asked for something called a Real ID. This is different from a regular driver's license, and you're going to want to update it soon. The pandemic has put many things on pause this year, including the launch of the Real ID.
If you are somebody that does like to fly, getting a Real ID driver's license or ID card obviously would be very convenient.
Currently, 43% of West Virginians already have the Real ID compliant license. Passengers will be required to use a Real ID or a passport to fly domestically. The deadline for the requirement has been pushed back by federal officials. The new deadline to change your license into a Real ID is October 1st of 2021 to make sure you can make your flight going anywhere in the United States.
We want people to have the easiest flying experience possible. We would hate for someone to come to the airport on October the 2nd and never have heard of Real ID and not have a passport and not be able to get on a flight.
Real IDs are a more secure version of a driver's license or identification card anyone can get from the DMV. The Real ID Act was created in 2005 to promote airport safety.
Hijackers from 9/11 had gotten a whole bunch of fraudulent IDs. Once all that happened, the federal government looked at everything and decided they needed to really make a more secure credential.
But not many passengers are aware of what the Real ID is. Yeah, you're good because you have that star right there.
I didn't know what it was. I knew of a newer version of the ID, not anything about a star.
I didn't know they was going to make it mandatory that you had to have Real ID or a passport.
So how do you know if your ID is a Real ID?
It'll have a star and right there at the top.
And for more information on how to get a Real ID before that October deadline, you can go to our website, WOWKTV.com. At Yeager Airport, Audra Laskey, 13 News, working for you. Senate Bill 565 is based on what county clerks experienced this past election.
Is the clerks want more time between the end of early voting and Election Day.
So the bill does just that. It moves up the deadline for in-person early voting to 6 days ahead of an election.
So now it starts on a Saturday and ends on a Wednesday, and then the clerks have Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get those poll books ready. It's just a rational, reasonable response to what the clerks ask us to do.
But the change is raising concerns among Democrat legislators who fear the changes will keep voters away from the polls.
The numbers of people who voted those last 2 days that weekend, they were extremely high. So that is the reason I voted against it.
Instead of talking about reducing days for absentee balloting or early voting, we should be talking about expanding access to voting for all people.
The measure also moves the deadline for absentee ballots to be mailed from 6 days prior to the election to 11. That's just shy of the request of the U.S. Postal Service for a 15-day window in order to guarantee all ballots are delivered to county clerks on time. A bill regarding voting laws is also on the national front, making its way through Washington right now, which West Virginia has a large role in. All of this is playing out as Congress debates national voting law changes prompted by the confusion surrounding the 2020 election. The House has passed its version. The Senate is debating its own.
49 Democrat senators have endorsed S1. 50 Republican senators oppose it. There's one man in the middle, and that's our Senator Joe Manchin. And having been a Secretary of State, he understands elections, and that's why he has his own concerns about S1.
In Charleston, Audra Laskey, 13 News, working for you.